the Unix system that built the internet. When people talk about operating systems today, the conversation almost always revolves around Linux, Windows, macOS, Android, or iOS. Linux dominates servers, Windows rules desktops, macOS owns the creative world, and Android powers billions of phones. But hidden underneath much of the modern internet, quietly shaping how networks, servers, firewalls, and even other operating systems work, there is an older, more disciplined, and deeply influential family of systems known as BSD. BSD stands for Barclay Software Distribution, and it is not just another Unix-like operating system. BSD is one of the most direct descendants of the original Unix itself, and in many ways, it is the Unix system that helped build the internet as we know it today. To understand BSD, you have to go back to the early days of Unix, long before Linux existed, long before open source was a buzzword, and long before the internet was something people carried in their pockets. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Unix was developed at AT&T's Bell Labs by legendary figures like Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Unix was revolutionary because it was small, portable, powerful, and designed around simple tools that could be combined in flexible ways. AT&T, however, was restricted by antitrust regulations and could not commercially sell software, so Unix was licensed cheaply to universities and research institutions. One of those institutions was the University of California, Berkeley. At Berkeley, computer science students and researchers began modifying Unix, improving it, and adding new features. These improvements were bundled and distributed as the Barclay Software Distribution, or BSD. At first, BSD was not a separate operating system, but rather a set of enhancements on top of AT&T Unix. Over time, however, BSD grew into something much larger and more influential. One of the most important contributions BSD made to computing history was networking. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, the Internet as we know it did not yet exist. There were experimental networks, most notably ARPANET, funded by the U.S. Department of Defense. What BSD did was implement TCP/IP, the core networking protocols that would eventually become the foundation of the global Internet. The BSD TCP/IP stack was clean, reliable, and open for researchers to study and improve. When the Internet began to expand beyond research labs and military networks, BSD's networking code was everywhere. If you used the early Internet, you were almost certainly relying on BSD code somewhere in the stack. This is why BSD is often described as the Unix system that built the Internet. Not because it was flashy or popular with consumers, but because it quietly powered routers, servers, and infrastructure at the exact moment the Internet was taking shape. Many early commercial Unix systems, and even early versions of Windows networking, borrowed heavily from BSD's TCP/IP implementation. The influence of BSD runs far deeper than most people realize. However, BSD's story is not just one of technical brilliance. It is also a story of legal battles, fragmentation, philosophy, and survival. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, AT&T began asserting intellectual property claims over Unix, leading to a long and complex legal dispute with the University of California. This legal uncertainty slowed BSD's adoption at a critical moment, just as Linux was beginning to emerge. Linux, created by Linus Torvalds in 1991, avoided these legal issues by being a cleanroom reimplementation inspired by Unix, but not directly derived from AT&T code. Eventually, BSD was rewritten to remove the remaining AT&T code, and the legal issues were resolved. By that time, however, Linux had already gained massive momentum. Instead of one unified BSD, the ecosystem fragmented into several major descendants, each with its own goals, philosophy, and strengths. The three most important BSD systems today are FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and NetBSD. FreeBSD is probably the most widely used BSD variant in terms of real-world deployment. Its focus is on performance, scalability, and practical usability, especially on servers and network appliances. FreeBSD is known for its advanced networking, efficient file system implementations, and a carefully engineered base system. Unlike Linux, where the kernel and userland come from many different projects, FreeBSD treats the operating system as a single, integrated whole. The kernel, core utilities, libraries, and documentation are developed together, which results in a system that feels cohesive and predictable. One of FreeBSD's defining features is its networking stack. Decades of optimization and real-world usage have made it one of the most robust and high-performance networking implementations available. This is why FreeBSD is widely used by internet service providers, content delivery networks, and companies that move enormous amounts of data. Netflix, for example, famously uses FreeBSD to power its OpenConnect content delivery network, streaming massive volumes of video traffic across the globe. Juniper Networks, NetApp, and many other companies rely on FreeBSD as the foundation for their products. Another key feature of FreeBSD is its file system technology. FreeBSD was an early adopter of ZFS, a next-generation file system originally developed by Sun Microsystems. ZFS combines volume management, data integrity checking, snapshots, compression, and replication into a single coherent system. For servers and storage systems, this is incredibly powerful. FreeBSD also has its own native file system innovations, such as UFS with soft updates and journaling, designed for stability and performance. FreeBSD's ports system is another hallmark. Instead of relying solely on precompiled packages, the ports system allows users to compile and customize software from source in a structured and automated way. This gives administrators fine-grained control over build options, dependencies, and optimizations. While Linux distributions vary widely in how they manage software, FreeBSD's ports system is known for its consistency and clarity. Then there is OpenBSD, the BSD variant that takes a radically different approach. If FreeBSD is about performance and scalability, OpenBSD is about security, correctness, and simplicity. OpenBSD's motto could be summarized as secure by default. The project is led by Theo de Rott and is famous for its uncompromising stance on code quality and security auditing. OpenBSD developers actively review their codebase for bugs, vulnerabilities, and design flaws, and they prioritize correctness over speed or convenience. As a result, OpenBSD has a legendary reputation in the security world. It is the system of choice for firewalls, VPNs, intrusion detection systems, and security appliances. OpenBSD is also the birthplace of many widely used security technologies. OpenSSH is a secure shell protocol used to remotely access millions of servers worldwide, was created by the OpenBSD project. So were tools like PF, a powerful packet filter and firewall system, and LibreSSL, a security-focused fork of OpenSSL. OpenBSD's philosophy extends beyond just security features. The project emphasizes clean, readable code and thorough documentation. If something cannot be implemented cleanly and safely, OpenBSD developers are more likely to remove it than to accept a messy solution. This can make OpenBSD feel less convenient or less feature-rich compared to other systems. But it also makes it incredibly reliable and predictable in security-critical environments. NetBSD, the third major BSD variant, is defined by its extreme portability. NetBSD's slogan is, of course it runs NetBSD, and that is not an exaggeration. NetBSD runs on an astonishing range of hardware architectures, from modern servers and desktops to embedded devices, routers, old workstations, and even vintage or obscure hardware platforms. If you have a weird CPU architecture or a niche embedded system, NetBSD is often the first BSD to support it. This focus on portability has shaped NetBSD's internal design. The codebase is carefully structured to separate machine-independent and machine-dependent components, making it easier to add support for new platforms. While NetBSD may not always match FreeBSD's raw performance or OpenBSD's aggressive security posture, it excels in flexibility and clean architecture. NetBSD is often used in research, embedded systems, and scenarios where long-term maintainability across diverse hardware is essential. Beyond its three major projects, BSD's influence extends even further. Apple's macOS and iOS are built on top of a BSD-derived foundation known as Darwin. Underneath the polished graphical interface of macOS lies a Unix system that incorporates BSD components, including the networking stack, command line tools, and much of the system architecture. When you open a terminal on a Mac and use commands like ps, top, ifconfig, or netstat, you are interacting with BSD heritage directly. Even Windows has felt BSD's influence. Microsoft's early networking stack borrowed ideas and code from BSD. And modern Windows includes a Unix-like subsystem that reflects decades of Unix and BSD design philosophy. Routers, switches, firewalls, and network appliances from countless vendors run BSD or BSD-derived systems under the hood. Many people use BSD every day without ever realizing it. One of the most important differences between BSD and Linux lies in licensing. BSD uses a permissive license, often referred to as the BSD license, which allows anyone to use, modify, and redistribute the code, even in proprietary products with minimal restrictions. This is very different from the new general public license used by Linux, which requires derivative works to also be open source. The BSD license is one reason why BSD code has been adopted so widely in commercial and proprietary systems. Companies can take BSD code, improve it, and ship it without being required to release their changes publicly. This permissive licensing has pros and cons. On the one hand, it encourages adoption and makes BSD attractive for commercial use. On the other hand, it means that improvements made by companies are not always contributed back to the community. Linux's copyleft model has resulted in a massive ecosystem of shared development, while BSD's ecosystem is smaller, more conservative, and more tightly controlled by core developers. Philosophically, BSD systems tend to value stability, clarity, and long-term design over rapid change. Linux moves fast, with frequent kernel releases, new features, and experimental subsystems. BSD moves carefully, often prioritizing correctness and maintainability over novelty. This makes BSD especially appealing in environments where reliability matters more than having the latest features. Another key distinction is how BSD systems are structured as complete operating systems rather than just kernels. Linux is technically just a kernel, combined with userland tools from the U project and other sources. This modularity has advantages, but it can also lead to fragmentation. BSD systems, by contrast, are developed as unified operating systems with a consistent vision for how all components fit together. This can make BSD feel more coherent and predictable, especially for experienced administrators. Despite all its strengths, BSD has never achieved the mainstream popularity of Linux. There are several reasons for this. Linux benefited from perfect timing, arriving just as BSD was tied up in legal uncertainty. Linux also aligned closely with the new project, which provided a complete set of free software tools. Over time, Linux gained massive corporate backing, especially from companies like Red Hat, IBM, Google, and later cloud providers. BSD remained more community-driven, conservative, and focused on infrastructure rather than mass adoption. Yet BSD's quiet persistence is part of its strength. It does not chase trends. It does not try to be everything to everyone. Instead, it excels in specific domains where its design principles shine. FreeBSD powers high-performance servers and storage systems. OpenBSD secures networks and protects critical infrastructure. NetBSD brings Unix elegance to virtually any hardware platform imaginable. Together, they form a lineage of Unix that values craftsmanship over hype. In 2026 and beyond, BSD continues to evolve. FreeBSD keeps improving scalability, virtualization support, and cloud integration. OpenBSD continues its relentless focus on security, modern cryptography, and code correctness. NetBSD continues expanding its already impressive hardware support. BSD may never dominate headlines, but it remains deeply embedded in the systems that make the internet work. Understanding BSD is not just about learning another operating system. It is about understanding the roots of modern computing, the philosophy of Unix, and the trade-offs between openness, control, performance, and security. BSD represents a different path in the evolution of operating systems, one that prioritizes elegance, discipline, and long-term thinking. So the next time you connect to the internet, stream a video, configure a router, log into a server over SSH, or open a terminal on a Mac, remember that somewhere beneath the surface, BSD's legacy is still there, quietly doing its job. It may not shout for attention, but it has shaped the digital world in ways that few systems ever have.